This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. I'm Carlos Caloni. Welcome to JoyNews Prime. Our headlines this hour: government struggles to secure deal with international bondholders to unlock $360 million of IMF cash. As report indicates, some bondholders are opposed to the terms being offered by Ghana. And former Power Minister Dr. Akufo-Addo says relocation of a Mary power plant to Kumasi vindicates erstwhile NDC government from all criticisms over the deal. Details as he fights off claims that the plant could have cost less than the $510 million, insisting that the deal is the best Ghana could have gotten. And Accra High Court issues a bench warrant for the arrest of the Director General of the CID and the Director General of Legal and Prosecution Unit of the Ghana Police Service for repeatedly failing to appear in court. We have details. Thank you so much for choosing us. Now, efforts of the government of Ghana to secure deal with international bondholders to restructure a debt have hit a snag after some external commercial creditors rejected the terms offered by Ghana. According to Reuters, Ghana failed to strike a deal with two groups of international bondholders to restructure $13 billion of debt due to the unfavorable terms. If Ghana does not progress on securing this deal with these commercial creditors, it cannot get a board-level agreement for the release of $360 million as part of the IMF deal. Let's listen to IMF Mission Chief for Ghana, Stefan Rodet, speaking at a joint conference with the Finance Ministry over the weekend, stressing how crucial an agreement with commercial creditors on debt restructuring is for the country.
We have been engaging very closely with the authorities on program implementation, and I'm very pleased to announce this morning that we have reached a staff-level agreement on the second review of the program. In terms of the next steps, and given Ghana's strong progress under the program, it is important that the authorities reach agreement with their official creditors on this memorandum of understanding that I talked about earlier. And we look forward to the authorities' continued efforts to reach this agreement, and the other creditors as well, in line with the program parameters.
We'll come back to the story, but the High Court in Accra has issued a bench warrant for the arrest of the Director General of the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service and the Director General of the Legal and Prosecution Unit of the Ghana Police Service. The arrest orders were issued following the persistent failure of the two to appear in court to answer for alleged contempt charges. Head of our Legal Affairs Desk, Richard Kojo-Nyako, has more from this development.
The court's decision came in response to an application filed by Sherwood Global Outreach, an entity that's seeking an order for the respondent to release a vehicle they had impounded with registration number GN 2925-20 to the applicant. Despite the court's orders, the respondent repeatedly failed to appear before the court, leading to the issuance of the bench warrant. During proceedings on Monday, the lawyer for the applicant, Abraham Arthur, moved an application for the committal of the CID boss and the DG of the Legal and Prosecution Unit for contempt. The court found that the respondent had blatantly refused to honor its directives, prompting the issuance of the arrest warrant. The court had specifically ordered the IGP to order the Director General of the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service, as well as the Director of the Legal and Prosecution of the Ghana Police Service, to appear before the court on Monday morning. And while the orders had been carried out, the two respondents were not in court. According to the court, there was evidence on record to show that the court orders had been carried out and that there was affidavit of service indicating that the order of the court to serve on the IGP had been carried out. Again, the previous order was served on the IGP on March 26th. The presiding judge says the court has extended enough courtesy to these public officers, and due to the fact that there is nobody above the law, he issued a bench warrant for the arrest of the respondents. Reporting from the court complex, my name is Richard Kojo-Nyako for Joy News.
Now, my colleague Kofi Addo of our research desk joins us in studio with the latest on the Ghana government and IMF deal. We understand that the deliberations now has hit a snag. Tell us more.
Well, so there's a new development, just like you read in your intro. The problem currently is that we have to deal with two different creditors at this point in time, which is the bilateral creditors and the, external, bondholders that we are learning that the negotiation with these external bondholders has actually hit a snag. And there were concerns that are being raised at the moment. Why is it so important? Now, we are in the process of actually securing that $360 million as our third tranche in this IMF program. But we need to secure financing assurances from all our creditors. And so at what stage are we at the moment? We know that over the weekend, we're able to secure that staff level agreement with the IMF, mission chief and then his team that came to Ghana. But the next thing that we have to follow is that we have to obtain the needed financing assurances, which we've not been able to, gather all the needed financing assurances to go to the IMF board for that final approval. We understand that we've been engaging the international bondholders since 16 March 2024, hoping to cut a deal with them. But we are also understanding or learning that when we presented the deal we're able to reach with the international bondholders to the IMF, they looked at it and they said that it will not meet the program's parameters in terms of the debt stability analysis they've done for 2023 to 2026. And so Ghana needs to do more work in terms of that. If you look at the next slide where we are talking about the bilateral creditors, at each stage of the negotiation, we are using different strategies to actually deal with these creditors. At the bilateral level, we are using the debt moratorium approach where they are giving us a grace period for us to be able to pay our debt later. It means that if you're asking for moratorium, then when the time is ripe for you to start paying your debt, there will be no haircut on whether the interest or the principal. On the side of the international bondholders, which is the Eurobond creditors, we are asking them for a haircut. And we understand that the haircut proposal that government submitted was that 40% up on the principal, and then also a 5% reduction on interest. Both of them, you could see the total amount involved, 5.4 at the bilateral and almost about $13 billion at the the bondholders' side. But why has this become so important? This is Ghana's problem. Our problem has to do with financing, our balance of payment. We need dollars. We are a country. We don't print dollars, but we spend dollars. And the IMF is anticipating that in 2024, this year, we need balance of payment of $3.3 billion, which is more than how much the IMF is even giving us in a span of 3 years. In 2024 alone, we need $3.4 billion. That's the magnitude of gap that we need to close. IMF plus the World Bank and even the AFDB, if you add, is giving us around $1.1 billion. It means that we have to find ways and means to raise $2.1 billion. How are we going to do that in 2024? We need to start talking to our creditors to give us the breathing space for us to get this $2.1 billion. It is only when we are able to get this assurance that the IMF program will work properly. Until then, no matter the amount they give us, the program will actually be put in some sort of uncomfortable situation. And we have to work hard to get this 2.1. So we are learning that, work with your external creditors. If you come to us and the deals you are bringing are actually half-baked, we'll ask you to go back to work on it. And so until Ghana is able to secure the needed financing assurance, it will be very difficult to draw that $360 million at the moment.
Thank you so much. Kofi is with our research desk, and he's been giving us details regarding the IMF deal and negotiations. But moving on, former Power Minister Dr. Akufo-Addo says the relocation of the Ameri power plant to Anwamase in Kumasi vindicates the erstwhile John Mahama administration. The plant was part of some emergency purchase agreement signed by the erstwhile NDC government to mitigate the Dumsor crisis in 2015. The NPP, then in opposition, and some experts at the time criticized the government over the deal, describing it as a knee-jerk approach to resolving the power crisis. Now, the Volta River Authority has now moved the plants to Kumasi in a bid to stabilize the erratic power supply from the Ashanti to the northern part of the country. Reacting to the new development, Dr. Akufo-Addo said the move absolves the NDC of all the criticisms.
I don't have a problem with the new nomenclature, except that the public should be told, there should be recognition that this is the Amere plant being relocated. That is so important, so that the impression is not created in the minds of Ghanaians that this is a new plant. And for me, it absolves some of us, especially those of us whose homes were raided because of this Amere plant in 2017. It absolves us because one of the arguments we made when we're bringing in the plant under President John Dramani Mahama was that because of its modular nature, it could be moved from place to place in the country to meet emerging needs in particular localities. And so this is the fulfillment of what we had envisaged, that yes, because of the modular nature, there are 10 units, each with 25 megawatt capacity. We can move them around to meet national demand. And let's also be fair, the decision to have generation in the central corridor is not an MPP decision. It's been something that has been on the drawing board, just as there's the need for another box supply point.
Now, Dr. Akufo-Addo has also been responding to some fresh allegations over the course of the plant raised by Chairman of the Energy Committee of the Dr. Bawumia's Manifesto Committee, Kojo Nsofa-Poku. James Aveji joins me via Zoom with details on this particular one. James, how much did Kojo Poku say the plant should have cost? Hello, James.
Are either ignorant or mischievous. First of all, if you're going to buy a car on high purchase, compared to if you're going to pay cash, do you pay the same price? You don't. To further buttress that, if you are going to, those who purchase properties, houses, if you are buying a house and paying cash down outright, I took a mortgage. And by the time you finish servicing the mortgage, it will at least be double the price if you had paid cash down. So there is what we call finance cost.
Okay.
Somebody's come to build a plant. You did not contribute a single cedi to it. And that the person will operate the plant for 5 years, after which it will transfer the plant to you for free. So there will be interest on the cost of the plant. There will be finance cost. And they could even be compound interest. And so you don't expect to pay the same amount that you would have paid if you had cash to pay for the plant at the time. It shows a total lack of appreciation of business principles.
So if Ghana were to go to the market at the time with physical cash,
yes, assuming we had the money, yes,
to go to the market to procure this plant, it would have come at a lesser cost.
Yes.
At the $290 million.
No, I'm not absolutely
not that exact figure.
No, absolutely 290 is a figment of somebody's imagination.
Okay, but it would have been less than the $510 million.
Of course.
By what margin?
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Of course, if you had the money, 290 plus balance of plant, plus transportation, plus engineering services elsewhere. Yes, if you had the money, it would have been less than $510 million. But you don't have the money. Remember, there was a whole lot of investigation after we lost power. National Security named the whole investigated. If they had found anything untoward, they would have taken us to court. Did we ever appear before any court of law? No. So it was kosher, it was above board. Unfortunately, innate desire for power, clothed in ignorance, is what is raising this issue today. After the government had thoroughly investigated, found nothing untoward, and indeed went ahead to renegotiate and did a worse job. They don't have the moral authority. Unfortunately, the young men raising this were too young to probably appreciate this at the time.
Now, my colleague James joins us via Zoom. James, prior to this reaction, Kojo Poku has been saying something about the cost of the plant itself. Can you share that with us?
Yes, Carlos. So, in fact, he was reacting to we know that when a government, actually the VRA, announced that they would be commissioning and renaming the plant from Ameri Power Plant to Kumasi 1 Thermal Power Plant, the NDC, through the ranking member on the, also on the Energy Committee, talks about the fact that renaming the plant to take its identity from it. And so it was in reaction to that concerns by the NDC that Kojo Poku raised a question about whether the plant should even bear the name Ameri, because he, according to him, from his investigations, revealed that the plant should have come at a cost of some $350 million US dollars. But we bought the plant at the time in 2015 at some $510 million. He believes that the extra $160 million, in his words, was some dash away to Ameri for no job done. And that is the explanation we got from the energy minister, that we did not have money going into the market. And so if someone wants to pay for a plant for you, it comes with some extra cost, which would have been in the region of the $160 million that he's been explaining. All right. So he's also been sharing his thoughts on the renaming of the Ameri plant. What has he been saying? The former power minister. Essentially, he did not have any particular issue with the renaming, but the timing of the that released by the VRA was his problem. He believes that should have come earlier, so that it gives time for those who haven't followed the trend to know that indeed the Ameri Power Plant was purchased by the NDC, and that is what is being converted now to the Kumasi 1 Thermal Power Plant, so that the glory some stays with the NDC and not people believing that this is actually a new power plant. All right.
It's a state institution. VRA is neither NDC or MPP. The Ministry of Energy is a state institution. The minister may be a political appointee, but the ministry is a state institution. And we expect those state institutions to execute their mandate professionally. And that is why we say, look, VRA, the statement we are talking about, VRA now issuing a statement, I haven't seen it yet. But that statement ought to have been issued earlier, when they started putting in the public domain they were going to commission. That statement ought to have come with that this is the Ameri plant. We have relocated to Kumasi area, and it will be rebranded as. That would have cured all that. If you don't do that, it creates the impression that you are taking credit for what you did not bring in. In that, people ill-informed would think the government have brought in a new power plant.
Now moving on, in an environment of higher learning where students have become used to modern technology for their routine academic activities, there is no doubt that the current power crisis will have a toll on teaching and learning. The impact has become dire, particularly as students write their end of semester examinations. In our Doomsor Diaries, Erica Sante visited the University of Education, Winneba, and the University of Cape Coast to find out how students are coping.
as Dumso.
The hostels, the way they give lights out is so bad. See, I can come from my hostel and then come to learn, yes, fine. And I decide that, around 12 o'clock I'm done learning, so maybe let me go to the hostel. I'll reach the hostel, it will be light out too. Then I have to prepare and then come back. And then after I come back, I can't return. Why? Because there'll be light out. I have to stay. Today like this, I have Camo, I have industrial psychology for tomorrow. But because I can't go back, because of the light out, I have to stay till 5 a.m. And I am tired. Imagine you have exam at 8 a.m. and then at 5 you are still at the library. How?
Bridget is a level 200 graphic communication student at the University of Education, Winneba. Bridget narrates how she now learns in an unusual environment just to be able to meet academic deadlines.
So if there is no light, if the light goes off unannounced and then your laptop is low and then you are supposed to go and work on something, you are unable to go and work on it. For example, you have to submit a work, or we were given an assignment as in to submit it 12 o'clock, but there was no light and then some of us, our laptops went off, so we couldn't email the thing to the lecturer on time.
The story of Bridget resonates with her colleagues at the University of Cape Coast. Francis tells me the Sam Jonah Library is now his second home because of Dumso.
Sometimes, because of the light out, most people troop in here to be comfortable because there is light, there is fan, there's no heat like that, and then because they want to study and there's no light in their hostels, they find it kind of like discomforting. So when they move in here, there is light, the AC is working, and they feel comfortable to study. So most often, because of that, there is pressure building up here. When you come late, building fan space.
The students you see are rushing to get a seat at the Sam Jonah Library. This building has become a tower of hope where most of the students draw inspiration from when the lights goes off.
Okay, so right now it's 9:51 and we have to rush to the library and study for our paper tomorrow, but then there is no light. We are really finding it difficult to make it up for our papers tomorrow, so we plead with authorities to kindly come to our aid. It's really not helping us. We are struggling to study with this Dumso.
The magnitude of the recent electricity crisis in Ghana is not unprecedented. However, the frequency of the current power cuts in an environment of higher learning, like the University of Cape Coast and the University of Education, Winneba, where students have become accustomed to modern amenities that rely on regular electricity supply. They say this is having a negative effect on them.
Our slides are either on our laptops or our phones, and we have to power these gadgets, but because of Dumso, we can't power these gadgets, and we have to learn. I mean, we want to pass our examinations, and for level 100 students, we are supposed to use the hot plates, or I can say the electrical cookers to cook food. Sometimes you'll be cooking, then shum or Dumso.
Because we are in the examination week, we cook in bulk and put them in our food. So if light is taken impromptu, that means that we don't have any sort of energy to keep our food. So they go bad, and that really affects us all.
The University of Cape Coast covers a vast area of land and is surrounded by 5 communities. The absence of a generator for electricity in most of the hostels in those communities means students have no option but to move to campus when the lights goes off. And this comes with its associated security challenges.
My greatest concerns come to the security. Leaving my hostel to campus becomes very scary because there are no lights on the street when there is light out. And it becomes very alarming because we have a lot of thefts going on during this era, like during examination era. We have people demanding for phones, taking your laptops and all others. So it becomes very stressful.
The students are calling on the powers that be to come up with a timetable for them to plan for their routine academic activities on campus effectively. My name is Erica Santi for JoyNews.
Now, commercial drivers in the Ashanti region say they earnestly are awaiting official communication for new transport fares. The previous week saw confusion at a lorry station as some drivers applied a 20% fare increase. But the drivers shelved the decision after the GPRTU and the Road Transport Coordinating Council called on them to reverse the price adjustment. Some drivers in Kumasi say with a high cost of fuel, there should be no further delays in announcing new fares.
America currently concern for the betu just everything by 30%. And no from Friday. There's any more increment in Ama.
The Concerned Drivers Association announced some new fares the other time, but nothing happened. We don't know if they will affect the new prices. We are eagerly waiting because times are hard.
Fuel prices in the no credit. Arawa for Yajumana Yayan. Ejumano Emoyadi. It say a basse, fuel prices and also a basura. Yana, I don't demand because of say any more.
We are really suffering. There is always a banter between drivers and passengers when the new price is announced. If the government could reduce the cost of fuel, it would help.
Yeah, bread of fuel tonim. And I'm here doing 6.5. We to fuel 4.5 because it says 2 million. Because you are there, I'm going back home. And when I'm in Kwakami, Jami.
The fuel is now expensive, and I'm unable to make enough profits. I had to buy 400 cedis out of 600 cedis I made and paid the car owner.
Now there's an easy calm on the pre-tertiary teachers front as three unions negotiating fresh conditions of service accuse government of bad faith. The Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, the National Association of Teachers, NAGRAT, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT, laid down their tools on 20th March demanding improved conditions. They were forced to call it off after the National Labour Commission secured a court order directing them to call off the action and return to the negotiating table. But this evening, talks appear to be heading for a breakdown as the teachers blame government of frustrating the process. In a statement, leadership of the unions warned the government and the public not to blame them in the event of what it calls a brouhaha at the pre-tertiary level. Now, joining us now is the General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Musa. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us here on JoyNews Prime. What really pushing you to issue such a strongly worded letter in the middle of a negotiation?
So thank you very much. Good evening to your good self and to all your listeners. I want to go straight to the point. Since the strike was called off on the 2nd of April, 2024, in fact, the National Labour Commission gave a ruling on the 26th of March and told us that we are to return to the Commission on the 17th of April. The government side gave all the assurance that we will make sure we get things done before we return. And the strike was called off on the 2nd. As we speak to you now, we have gone to the table several times. Government, as of today, has not tabled anything.
How many times have you gone to the table, and what do you mean? How do you mean specifically? You said government is frustrating the process. Give us specifics.
Yes, on the 27th, we were there. And government insisted that until we call off the strike, they will not engage us. And we indicated to them, we have already communicated to the Labour Commission that we have to go through certain processes, then we get it done. And so on that particular day, they refused to engage us. We gave all the explanation, but they said they will not take it. So we ended our meeting without any engagement. Then, on the 2nd, when the meeting was called off, the following day, there was a meeting. I think that was on Thursday, because they said they had other programs. So we scheduled a meeting, and we went. When we went, the government team did not table anything. The following week, We met on 2 occasions. Nothing was tabled. And then the last meeting that was held, that was on last week Tuesday when we met. And at that particular meeting, it was agreed that, look, we need to make sure that we work towards getting this thing done to enable us to return to the Labour Commission on the 17th. So, in fact, we should have met last week Friday. But because of the holidays and other people saying that, look, they will not be around, we all agreed that let us meet today 10 a.m. to get it done.
Okay.
Today, they called telling us that owing to 1 or 2 reasons, we should reschedule the meeting to tomorrow. And we foresee that it is because of the issue of mandate. Because anytime they are coming to the table, they come with lamentations. They don't table anything.
Okay.
And we made it clear to them that coming to the meeting today, they have to table something. And sensing danger, they realize that, look, they need to table something. And because they have nothing to table, they reschedule the meeting tomorrow. And like we are saying, and as indicated in the letter, look, the national security has a cliche that will see something, you say something. There is an uneasy calm amongst our people. And the way the grassroots of our members are actually boiling, we needed to sound this particular warning to the powers that be that all is not well. And that if they take these particular negotiations for granted, because the atmosphere is calm, whatever happens, they should blame themselves.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. We're grateful. Thomas Musa is the General Secretary for NAT. He's been sharing his thoughts on the situation. And so you're still watching JoyNews Prime with me, Carlos Kaloni. We'll take a short break. We'll return with more. Please stay. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. Now to some more stories. Parliament has waded into last week's clash that claimed the lives of 2 residents in Tama Newtown as it commits launching an inquiry into to unravel the event leading to the tragic incident between some personnel of the Eastern Naval Command and the residents. The men, believed to be between the ages of 29 and 34, were confirmed dead, with 8 others wounded, following an alleged shooting incident involving personnel of the Eastern Naval Command. Now, youth of the area, as part of a procession marking the climax of the Plegio Festival, allegedly clashed with the naval officers. We understand that the police and the Ghana Armed Forces have both commenced a separate investigations into the incident. Now, joining the fray, ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament, James Agalga, says Parliament will also set up an independent investigation into the situation immediately Parliament resumes.
First of all, let me extend my deepest condolence to the families of those 2 individuals who unfortunately lost their lives. I have personally seen the statement issued by the Ghana Armed Forces and, of course, the press conference addressed by the chiefs of Tema Newtown. I think the situation is a little bit volatile, and so I would want to call for calm. The preliminary investigations have been, started by the police and the army itself. The Navy. But I should say that given the very nature of the, shooting incident, I believe strongly that an independent probe would suffice. That to calm the nerves of both parties. I mean, the armed forces on the one hand and the people of Tema Newtown.
Now, the Regional Security Council has also taken keen interest in the incident. Regional Minister Designate Kwate Titus Glover says the council will soon consider a report from the Tama Metropolitan Security Council. He's also called on all parties to exercise restraint while investigations proceed.
When I saw those gentlemen dead, So we want to speak to the International Council headed by the Mankralo and the acting presidents. And I had the opportunity to address the youth, pleaded with them that what has happened was an unfortunate incident. Therefore, they shouldn't take the law into their own hands. But we still appeal to all power parties to allow patience. This morning, I know the Metropolitan Security Council will meet, and the outcome will be known, and thereafter we'll know what to do. So, as the minister designated for Greater Accra, we haven't met because since the incident happened in summer, by the structural arrangements, the Metro Security Council first have to meet and look at the matter before we can proceed further. Parliament is an institution of states. They have every right to add their voice to whatever happened.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity, Uncharted Institute of Management Accountant and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountant, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Election Headquarters for an informed electorate. Now, this evening, the opposition NDC is raising concerns about the integrity of the Electoral Commission EC heading into the December polls after the EC admitted some of their biometric verification devices were stolen. The party is demanding immediate and decisive action from the Electoral Commission, emphasizing that the NDC will not accept nothing less than a full restoration of total security for all EC logistical equipment, a thorough investigation, and a complete accountability. Here's the party's General Secretary, Fifi Kwete.
It fought tirelessly to establish. The lackadaisical attitude and dismissive responses from the Electoral Commission officials in the face of such a breach are unacceptable and insult the very intelligence of every Ghanaian. We demand immediate and decisive action from the Electoral Commission. The time for excuses is over. The time for transparency, accountability, and rectification is now. Ghana is watching, and the world is watching. The integrity of our elections and the future of our democracy hang in the balance. Let us be clear. We would accept nothing less than a full restoration of total security for all EC logistical equipment for the upcoming elections, a thorough investigation, and a complete accountability. Anything short of this represents an affront to our nation's future.
Now, Fifi Kwete also questioned why the Electoral Commission did not immediately communicate to political parties and the general public about the missing devices, describing the EC to have grossly disrespected and been dishonest with its major stakeholders.
It is unsurprising to the NDC, and we believe to many decent-minded Ghanaians, that significant component of the biometric voter registration, BVR kits, could be stolen at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission of Ghana under lock with CCTV surveillance. We wish to emphasize that before the vigilance of a courageous whistleblower who alerted the NDC and the subsequent probing by our parliamentarians in Parliament, the shocking thefts of crucial biometric equipment at the EC's heavily surveilled headquarters would have remained shrouded in secrecy. This raises deeply troubling questions. Why did the Electoral Commission not disclose this significant breach of security? What prevented them from being upfront with the political parties, the Ghanaian public, and our development partners about such a critical incident? How can we trust an institution tasked with safeguarding the sanctity of our electoral process when it conceals such vital information? Is this
Now, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has labeled the ruling NPP administration led by Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia as the biggest political scam in the history of the Fourth Republic. According to him, the present government was packaged beautifully in the seat to win political power. To the former president, most of the promises of the NPP government are yet to be redeemed. Nana Ojima has more in the following report.
The Northeast region is the last to be toured by the NDC flag bearer as part of the party's Building Ghana tour. At Kambatiak, the former president solicited the views of chiefs and the people to feed into the next NDC manifesto. John Mahama, in addressing the gathering, enumerated some issues which have stalled development in the country.
Today, after 7.5 years of MPP administration, if you take the total national debt and you say we should share it amongst all the 30 million Ghanaians, each of us will pay 20,000 Ghana cedis. That is the extent of the damage that has been done to this economy. A government that just thought that borrowing and spending was all that you should do. But it's the hypocrisy that is annoying. This is the same government where somebody said that if it was just borrowing and spending, even their child in primary school can be president. And they said the money is there. I worked in Bank of Ghana, I know the money is there. We can develop this country without borrowing. Today, look at where they've ended us. Inflation is high. Hardship is across the land. There's no support for farmers. The cocoa industry has collapsed.
To the former president, most of the promises of the NPP government are yet to be redeemed. For this reason, he tagged the government as a scam.
This government has been a disaster. Indeed, I say that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration is the biggest political scam in the history of the Fourth Republic. They package themselves very beautifully with a lot of lies and deceit, and they got the people to vote for them. Today is just a story of broken promises. One village, one dam. Where are the dams? One district, one factory.
And guess who is in studio with me? The queen of showbiz in the whole of Africa, Becky Bex.
Oh, the whole of Africa.
The whole of Africa.
Oh my God. That's so big. I hope that I'm living up to that expectation.
Sure.
But this evening, let me tell you about what's up in showbiz. Now, the board of the Telecel Ghana Music Awards has made two major corrections following the one-week window open for errors and omissions in the already released list of nominations. According to the statement issued by the board, two major songs were considered. These include Kweku Anansi by Amrado and Lonely Road by O. Kenneth and Slim Kid. The statement read. All right, let's move away from, I almost said that, Vodafone Ghana Music, or it's Telecel. Telecel now. Okay. So, you know Akese Brimpon, right?
Sure, yeah.
So he has a show coming up. He calls it Davidic. Okay. So he was asked, what is it about Davidic? I mean,
I was even going to ask.
Yeah, we really want to understand. Yeah. The event comes off this weekend. And here is all you need to know about it. It's out on this particular event. Yeah. Fantastic. Akese Brimpon is just, fantastic guy. Today is Kofi Kenante's birthday. You know that, right? No.
Yes, I know. I saw it on social media.
You did? Yeah, and he was on Prime on Friday. He told us all about how he's going to release a music. Today, he actually released that music. But before that, let's talk about how he's been advising the young ones to stay true to their craft and also stay consistent.
Music
music speaks to the soul.
Right.
Yeah, so it will give you some kind of joy that you wouldn't be able to, express it. You can't explain it, how you are feeling. So it's some fire and some joy inside. And it's a very special connection. So when you listen to somebody for a while, like a musician, you anticipate, you focus on a musician for a while, and you meet the musician. Yeah, that's when the connection
comes.
Yeah.
People want to just be like Ofori-Atta, but they don't know the things that you have to go through and the work that you have to put in and all of that. Any advice?
They should see music as an investment. You can't get the results right now. When you do fast food music, it will be consumed fast, and that is it. So it's more or less like an investment. You need to work, build upon it, invest, and they will yield some other time, or some days to come, some years to come. So you don't look for results right now, and you have to have in mind that whatever you put in, that's what you are going to get. Just as I said, it's like an investment. You put in 1 CD, maybe you're going to get like 1 CD, 20 pesos. According to the percentage.
Right.
You can't put in 1 CD and expect 2 billion. It doesn't work like that. So it takes time. You are like, mistakes are allowed. You have to make mistakes. Open yourself for mistakes. Be open-minded. Don't be restricted. Okay, I do only this, so this is what I'm doing. No.
Ofori-Atta right there. So as promised, he has released a song. It's called A Fiekuma Broken Heart.
Okay.
He actually, first of all, gave us a Fiekuma love. And all of a sudden, he's gotten a broken heart. Who broke his heart? I have no idea. But this is for you, for those of you who haven't listened to the song. Here is a sneak peek.
Your future boyfriend.
So this song is dedicated to, well, the song just came in at the right time. Yeah. So if you're heartbroken, this is for you. If Fiekuma Broken Heart is out now by Ofori-Atta. Happy birthday to you. That'll be all for the show this evening. We're grateful for your time.
Great.
Will you be here tomorrow?
You're looking beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And that's all we have time for in this hour. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. And Prime Business is up next.
With Pius Kojo Baka.
Bye-bye.
Hello, welcome to Prime Business with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Economist Dr. Patrick Isumeng has stated that Ghana is better off getting a favorable debt agreement with international bondholders than rushing through the process with an unfavorable deal, which might jeopardize its debt restructuring journey. He observed that agreement of this nature takes time. Therefore, government must tread cautiously to ensure a mutual agreement that would be beneficial to all parties. He spoke to Joy Business.
I think that you are right that this could drag on for a while, but I mean, it's something that anybody who has any knowledge of this would have expected. It's not something that you make your initial offer and get accepted. And I think it's very important from our point of view. It's very important that we take our time and get a very good deal, even if it drags on, than to get a deal that doesn't really serve our long-term interest. So. And you can understand why they will take the position that they've taken, because I think this has something to do also with the bilateral negotiations. Once the bilateral partners give us some deal, by the comparability principle, they expect that something similar will also happen with the bondholder. So this could go on for a while, but I think we should understand that these things take time, and then try and get the best deal that we can get. I think that, yes, in the immediate term, we need that agreement, MOU signed with the bilateral for the second review to go to the board. But we can't say that they are not related. It's possible that the bilateral partners want to see that we are going to have a similar arrangement with the bondholders before they finally commit to it. Don't forget, we've been far ahead on that one. There was an agreement on the border framework all the way back in January, but you get the sense that they will also be interested in seeing, what kind of arrangement. We can't ask the bilateral partners to give us so much debt forgiveness and then go to the bondholders and then get almost nothing, that they don't take any haircut at all. And I think the IMF, in some sense, is trying to ensure that Ghana gets the best deal it can get.
Now, Ghana is likely to record an increase in foreign revenue if it is able to implement a tax on foreign income of resident Ghanaians. Now, that's according to senior partner in charge of tax at Deloitte, George Ankoma. His prediction follows GRA's move to start taxing foreign income resident Ghanaians. According to the GRA, it is in the process to complement or complete the necessary assessment needed to commence the tax. Julie Isiam is Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority.
Plugging the VAT, the loophole, or not a loophole, but the gap that we find with the VAT on electricity, we have specifically agreed with GOG, our mother ministry, and the fund to implement a compliance measure on foreign income. Foreign income on resident Ghanaians, and I want to emphasize this resident Ghanaians. Yes, okay. It's resident Ghanaians. By definition of the law, anybody who lives in the country for 183 days is classified as a resident Ghanaian. There's been a lot of questions on this measure from foreign nationals meaning Ghanaians who live abroad. This is related or relevant to resident Ghanaians, which is citizens of Ghana, obviously, who are here, and also individuals who currently reside in Ghana. This is not a new measure. This is already in the law through our voluntary disclosure program, etc. But its implementation has not been effective. We needed to put in place specific structures and measures to make sure that this is implemented in an optimal manner. And that is what we've done. We are so grateful and thankful to the OECD who have partnered us to bring this into fruition. We are also very proud to let Ghanaians know that Ghana is one of the only 5 African countries that have been approved by the OECD to actually have exchange of information on resident Ghanaians who have income overseas.
In more business news, LG Electronics has launched the LG Insider Community to enhance the consumer experience of its numerous appliances. Speaking in an interview with Joy Business, the head of detail at LG Electronics, Doris Owungba, says the community will foster unity and collaboration amongst consumers, especially women in Ghana.
LG Electronics is fostering a supportive community for its customers in Ghana. The LG Insider Community provides a safe space for consumers to share experiences, connect with like-minded individuals, and receive exclusive tips to get the most out of their LG appliances. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch, the head of digital at LG Electronics, Doris Owungba, believes the LG Insider Community will enhance collaboration amongst consumers in Ghana.
It has been launched. We intend to organize CSR activities, events, also give promotions and deals. And with this, we continuously prove that life's good through collaboration. So that's precisely what the LG Insider Community is about. And we believe that more consumers out there would willingly join this community and grow the community in Ghana.
Juliana Ametowogbo is the president of the Women in Technology at Telecel.
We are advocating that we want a lot of women to get into the tech space because currently when you take the ratio of women to men in the technology industry, it's just about 20%, 26%, I think, according to the stats currently. And we can only target the generations below us, introducing them to STEM courses early enough, encouraging them to take up such careers so that in the near future we can bridge the gap.
The launch event also showcased LG's latest innovations for the Ghanaian market, including the LG OLED TV, LG Vive series laundry appliances, LG Dual Inverter AC, and the LG New Chef microwave.
Time now for Entrepreneur in You, and today we learned how to calculate our quick ratio in our personal and business finances. Dr. Maxwell Ampong has more.
If you've ever wanted some very quick cash, it's a ratio that is really helpful for both your personal finance and your business finance. Hello, today we speak about your asset test ratio. Have you ever wanted some quick cash? That is why the asset test ratio is also known as your quick ratio. The reason being that it is a sign of how fast you can get your hands on cash, actual cash or cash equivalent, within the shortest amount of time. In the last episodes, we spoke about your current ratio being your current assets divided by your current liability. But in your current asset, we added your inventory as well. The quick ratio simply takes out inventory. Reason being that it is a sign that you might be too dependent on your inventory if your quick ratio isn't high enough. And if it is very high, it means you are in a good position to get some cash on hand when you need it within the shortest amount of time. So the calculation for your quick ratio is your current assets minus your inventory divided by your current liability. So it's basically your cash equivalent, your accounts receivables divided by your current liabilities. So it's basically anything that is easily turned into liquid cash within the shortest amount of time. And then we try to find out how much of it can make up your liabilities, so all your debtors, or so everybody that you have to owe money to come for their money immediately. So if you've ever wanted some very quick cash, it's a ratio that is really helpful for both your personal finance and your business finance. And that's all for today. Well,
brought to you by Africa School of Entrepreneurship.
You can follow Dr. Maxwell Ampong's Entrepreneur in You series here on Joy News every Mondays and Thursdays, and of course on radio as well on Joy 99.7 FM and on all our social media platforms. We've got international business for you next.
Hi there, welcome to Prime Sports. Now, Prosper Nata Ogum is under increased pressure following Asante Kotoko's latest defeat in the Ghana Premier League to Dreams FC on Sunday. The club has suffered 6 defeats in its last 7 games, leaving them 11th with just 3 points above the relegation zone. Now, the situation has led to increased calls for a change in the coaching staff among the fans. And we have more for you in the following report. The Porcupine Warriors suffered their defeat in 7 games as they lost 2-0 to Dreams FC on March Day 26 on Sunday at the Theatre of Dreams in Dewu. Kotoko, whose last positive result was a draw against Bechem United on March Day 24, were looking to get their first win since the 1st of March. However, the CAF Confederations Cup semi-finalist added more misery to Kotoko's problems. Sylvester Simba got things off for Dreams at the Theatre of Dreams, scoring after 25 minutes to put the Still Believe lads in the lead.
John Enchi. Here's Simba. And that's the opening goal. Dreams FC breaks the deadlock. On 24 minutes, it's Sylvester Simba.
Derek Atta-Eje doubled the tally for Karim Zito's side after the break as they went on to claim all 3 points.
Derek Atta-Eje, John Enchi, lovely play from Enchi. Here is Atta-Eje, chance for Dreams. It is Atta-Eje. Atta-Eje shoots and Atta-Eje scores.
The defeat means Kotoko stay in the 11th position, just 3 points off the relegation zone and 16 points off the top spots in the league. For fans of the club, an urgent coaching shake-up is needed to turn things around. We need to sack the coach and find a new manager to turn things around. We also need to buy new players suitable for the club, because Kotoko is not a club that should lose 6 games in 7. Since I was born, I have never seen this kind of performance from a Kotoko team. Otumfuo needs to act and change the technical team. The coach is not helping the club. The club is killing us emotionally. We are tired and have left the team for them. This cannot be the state of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But former player and current coach of Dreams FC, Karim Zito, believes fans of the club must abandon their title hopes for the season and remain patient and supportive of the players and technical team.
But all what I want for them to understand, this is something called a change of event. You understand me? It's about moment. The moment we are in now, they are having a bad. So all what I would like the supporters to do is they should not, the way they were hooting and shouting at them brought in the psychological point of coaching that fear of failure can let you fail. So when you don't take time, this fear of failure will let the players feign injuries because they are afraid to come, and then when there's a loss, what are they going to do? So I would like to take this opportunity to plead to our supporters. Now we should forget about the league. We should try to end it. We should make peace with reality. The team is not in good shape. So the shouting and the hooting will not bring it back. But patience and focus can bring it back. So I'm pleading to them.
Meanwhile, assistant coach David Okolo remains confident in the team's ability to turn things around for the better.
It's unfortunate, and I feel their pain, but they should bear with us. This is football. Sometimes it happens. They should just bear with us and keep supporting us. We will definitely change things around.
The club will face league leader Samatex in its next game on Sunday at Wabara Stadium as they look to end their winless run. Now let's turn attention to Kumasi, where the fans are, we understand, are still agitating and calling for change in the technical team of the club. Stephen Zando is at sister station Love FM, and he's been monitoring what has been happening among the management team and also in the camp of the owner of the club, Otumfuo-Addo. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us on Prime Sports. I mean, the fans are calling for the head of Prosper-Atta Ogum. What have you picked from Menchia and also among the management members? Is Prosper likely to be sacked?
Razak, like you rightly said, the fans are mounting pressure on head coach of Asante Kotoko, Dr. Prosper Ogum, to leave the club because, they think that where the club is currently positioned, Ogum is not the right manager to steer the affairs of the club. But it is not clear what decision the interim management committee of Asante Kotoko wants to take immediately as regards the future of head coach of the club, Dr. Prosper Ogum, after the fans, called for his exit. The IMC would need approval of Menchia to take an action to relieve Ogum of his post. But our information is that Manchia still supports Dr. Prosper Gumnati to be in charge of the team, even though we all agree that the team has 4 points from a possible 27 in the second round of the Ghana Premier League campaign. That's really, really bad. Let's try and refresh our memories back to when Ogum was reappointed. The life president of the club, His Majesty of Otunfo, said to the second showered Ogum in praises. Actually, he reviewed that he did wide consultation with Coach Kwesi and some old players of the club. And most of these people that is the right to steer the technical aspect of the club. So you put all this together and you understand why talk Ogum leaving the club is not, now that you would expect. Because, 9 months in the second round of the Ghana campaign, the club has opened. So 4 from a 27, and that's good. So ordinarily, you'd expect that the manager will be fired. As well as that, Gum has support of Manchia, and that is why guys take any immediate action on his Twitter. Protocol's performance in 2024 has really been poor, where the fans, constantly mounting pressure on Coach Dr. Gumnati, even though Manchia has support Ogum to lead the technical affairs of the club. But the fact that the fans are mounting pressure on the coach to resign and tells you that anything at all is possible in the next few days, like that.
Zando, we understand some have raised concerns about the seeming absence of one key member of that management team and also attributed the club's woes to his absence. I'm speaking about the former coach of the club, former player, and also former Black Stars coach, who happens to be the technical director of the club, Ofori-Atta. Can you just help us appreciate exactly the concerns being raised about his absence and how that is contributing to the challenges that the club finds itself in?
So, as at Saturday, when I did my last check, the former Black Stars coach, who is a member of the Kotoko IMC, Ofori-Atta, was in Saudi Arabia. He's the head coach of the Sudanese national team. And, these fans are worried because the IMC is a 4-member team. And Ofori-Atta is part of it. And we all agree that Kotoko is in crisis. So ordinarily, you expect that a member of the IMC will be in this country making sure that he's contributing to resolve the current crisis. But unfortunately, Ofori-Atta is nowhere. And that is why some of the fans, have suggested that, yes, the life president of the club may have a lot of trust in the former Black Stars coach, but Ofori-Atta should actually be flexible enough and come down to convince Otunfo to be a second life president of Asante Kotoko, perhaps to let him know that he would have wished to continue as a member of the Kotoko IMC, but because he has other responsibilities that he's taking care of in Saudi and in Sudan, and the fact that he's a member of the GFS too, the responsibility is quite enormous, and that is why he cannot really focus on the job at Asante Kotoko. So he would want to relinquish his role at Asante Kotoko for another person to be, appointed, where the person will have full focus to contribute, positively towards the fortunes of the club. Because, Kotoko is in crisis, and if you want the technical director or technical advisor of the club, the technical director of the club is not in this country. He's in Saudi Arabia, leading another national team. And it's a worry. And most of these fans, I remember last Saturday on Love FM when we were having our sports show, most of the fans who called into our show complained that they think that Ofori-Atta should come down and try and
turn things around. Well, Zando, we'll have to leave it here. That's Stephen Zando, my colleague in Kumasi with Love FM, and we'll keep tabs on this critical situation and see what happens. The Accra Lions did bounce back from their defeat on the road to Heart of Lions to beat BVDs Gold Stars by 2-0 at the Accra Sports Stadium, and that has seen them jump to 5th on the table. But this is how the Ghana Premier League table is looking like. Just look at it. Summertex are top of the table over there, and they are leading the pack. Summertex, you see the Summertex table. They are still leading. They're top of the table over there with 49 points, and you have other teams. But this is where Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the moment find themselves. They are in the 11th position. They've got 33 points. And just look at them and the bottom half of the table. That's the 3 teams. Karela United, Karela United, you see 30 points. So Kotoko is just about 30 points above the relegation zone. And that is very challenging. But look at the first position, Samatex. This is their second season in the Ghana Premier League, and they're already performing wonders, leading the pack with 49 points. And Nations FC in second, Aduana in third, and Midiama. Hearts of Oak are there in 9th position. So that's how the Ghana Premier League is looking like. It's getting even more exciting. Well, that's all we have for you on Prime Sports, and I'm Razak Musbao. Have a wonderful evening.